Hello folks and welcome to Formula One Paddock Pass, your post-race edition for the British Grand Prix. Say hello guys! Right! Sorry about the result. Lewis fans, Seb fans, the boy did great, didn't he? Lewis did well, yes? Yes he did. He didn't win though. I know all these guys were hoping for it. Apart from the Vettel fans, any Vettel fans? Don't boo! We're better than that. Come on, guys. It was Sebastian Vettel who won the British Grand Prix 2018 after right down at turn 1 on the first lap. Kimi Raikkonen came firing in, took out Lewis, put him into a spin. He fell to the back of the field. What followed was an amazing afternoon in which Raikkonen picked up a 10-second penalty, had to make his way back up through the field, and Hamilton, who at one point had over 27 seconds in arrears of race leader Sebastian Vettel, was helped out by two late race safety cars to pull back to second at the checkered flag. Kimi Raikkonen came home third, meaning it wasn't quite the day that the British fans had hoped for. But Hamilton gave it his all, and the championship fight is definitely still on. Sebastian Vettel, your race winner. Lewis Hamilton, P2. Kimi Raikkonen, P3.
Yeah, I think it's better to pick in the beginning and at the end rather than the middle. But no, really pleased with the result, and especially here, a track that we've been struggling in the past. I think it was nice to see that we were strong all weekend and able to fight for win. And obviously we got the lead back in the end, which felt very satisfying.
But of course it was a tough situation to be in. But I just kept my head down. I knew that I had to fight with everything I had. But what I was just saying is I could see the fans every single corner, every lap, cheering. I mean, they could have just taken a rest for a minute. I still would have known they were there, but they didn't. They just kept going and going and going. And I can't thank them enough for that, because that's really what spurred me on to get the result we have today. And ultimately I'm going to carry that energy that they have with me this weekend onto the next race.
Silly question, but how can you concentrate on listening to the crowd and taking in their energy as well as trying to fight back to that amazing recovery you did?
Well, you have to use all your peripherals. That's why I can see everything, and that's why I could see people. But it was one of the most challenging races, that's for sure.
Yeah, I looked inside wheel a bit, and couldn't slow down as much as I wanted, and then obviously touched him and he spun and I got penalised. So yeah, not the greatest start, but that's how it goes.
A modern recovery from yourself, getting obviously the penalty for that, but here you are on the podium.
Yeah, we did what I could, and obviously it was quite tricky to somehow try to clear Red Bulls, and seems to affect a lot my car when I get close to them, more than other cars. But yeah, in the end I managed to get one of the Mercedes. So yeah, not an easy day, but got something out of it.
Now, with 10 laps left to run in the race, there was a safety car after Marcus Ericsson went off down at turn 1. What that did is it brought most people into the pits to change for a fresh set of soft tyres. The Mercedes, though, stayed out on the medium tyre till the end. That put Valtteri Bottas at the head of the field on the safety car restarts. He did his damnedest to stay there, ultimately couldn't, eventually falling behind Vettel, then Hamilton, then Raikkonen. The one-time race leader came home fourth, very disappointed, but a plucky, valiant effort from the Finn.
Valtteri, that was very exciting for all of us to watch. What was it like for you?
Not very exciting in the end for me, leading the race and dropping the fourth in the last few laps was pretty bad. But just I think we took the risk staying out during the first safety car to try to get ahead of Sebastian. So everything was feeling fine at that point, but the last few laps was like driving on ice.
Was it frustrating when you could start to feel the tyres going and you knew you could defend?
Yeah, I was really, after the last safety car, I was kind of feeling that okay, maybe we can do it. Maybe, and it felt okay. We had good racing with Sebastian, and suddenly the tyres started to go, and there was nothing to do.
Now, one of the talking points of the race, Max Verstappen fighting Kimi Raikkonen for what seemed like pretty much the whole thing. It was a really fantastic fight, but ultimately Max Verstappen would not see the checkered flag. It looked like something broke on his car after he ran wide, I think through Maggots and Beckett's at quite a late stage of the race. Ultimately he retired. You're about to find out why. His teammate though did not. Daniel Ricciardo coming home with strong points after a difficult run recently in which Verstappen has, you've got to be honest, since Monaco, been the driver in the ascendancy.
Max, how frustrating is that when you were having such a solid race and you were really in for some points and maybe even a podium?
Well, I think we would have stayed where we were because we were just too slow on the straight to really do anything. So it's a shame when you know that you have a difficult weekend. At least you want to score some decent points, and then so close to the end of the race to retire is of course always very disappointing.
Just finally, what goes through your head when that happens?
Disappointment. Yeah.
Daniel, for you, that was a relatively quite quiet, really, which was good in that way because it was a difficult race.
I don't know. It was. I think the first lap there was a bit going on. I didn't actually see what happened to Lewis, but on the exit of turn 3, I saw him coming around, and then where else were we? Yeah, I think then we second stint on the medium. We're actually looking all right. I think Kimi was quite quick at the beginning of that stint. He got right on the back of me, and then I felt I picked up my pace, and we kind of brought each other closer to Max, and then. Very last minute, team said box, so we pitted for the 2-stop, and then the safety car came out 2 laps later, so we lost track position and the tyre advantage. So it was just, I don't want to use the word unlucky, misfortune, frustrating, misfortune. Honestly, the last 3 races we've had something not go our way, so it is what it is, but it's just, yeah, you feel like you can't really do much more. And at the end with Valtteri, we had a quicker car, obviously on a better tyre, but just couldn't get close enough on the straights. It was that was also a frustration, but yeah, we got some points. We'll go to Hockenheim, start at the back, try to get on the podium from the back, and then win in Budapest. So sounds okay.
Now, after a disappointing qualifying session for the Renaults, they had a pretty phenomenal first lap. Both Nico Hülkenberg and Carlos Sainz well up within the top 10 by the end of lap 1. They were on the medium tyres, so you would have thought with 1 stop expected they would have gone long on the medium, switched to soft at the end, been the fastest cars at the end. Not so. When everybody came in to switch from the soft to the medium that was on the regular strategy, not long after the Renaults came in to switch from their mediums. A 2-stop strategy? No, they switched onto the hard tyre and did the duration of the race on the hard. Paid off though. Nico Hülkenberg back in the points, absolutely swinging. Great job.
Nico, you've got to be happy with that performance.
Absolutely, I am. I think there's can't ask for more. Had a good start, good first lap. Managed, to sneak through all of the carnage in turn 2 and 3. Found myself in P7, and just had to hold track position from there. Manage my race, my tires, which we successfully did. Picked up 1 position from a Red Bull that spun at the end. So good day at the office. 8 points.
It was all looking so good for Haas this weekend. The Ferrari power unit in the back of their car was really making a difference around here, and they qualified as best of the rest after the top 3 teams. However, it all looked to come undone on lap 1 when the 2 Haas teammates made contact with one another. You should never discount Kevin Magnussen, however. He romped home well within the points. So a great day for Kevin Magnussen after what had started to look like quite the opposite.
Kevin, more points though, you must be happy about that. You don't seem particularly happy.
No, it could have been better, and it should have been, but here we are, we still scored points.
But what could have been better? Why are you not happy?
We started 7th and finished 9th, so...
Now, we've spoken about Haas and we've spoken about Renault, but we've only spoken to 1 driver from each team. That's because Carlos Sainz at Renault and Romain Grosjean from Haas failed to finish the race because they became a tad too neighbourly, shall we say, going through cops. Sainz on fresh tyres up against Grosjean round the outside. Grosjean into Sainz, and the both of them out. Whose fault was it? 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, or very much in one corner? We'll let the drivers argue it out between themselves.
Great start, P9, starting with the medium from P16. Then lost the positions, 2 positions at the start. I was out of the points, had to box over the soft to say, okay, let's try and get these points back. And I was risking, to try and overtake Roman. Made a move around the outside into Gops, and I think he just lost a bit the car on entry, and we just tangled.
Was it a racing incident?
I think it could have been avoided, but this is Formula 1. We give each other just enough room, and I think he lost the car.
Was it a racing incident?
I don't know. I think we need to see more footage. I haven't seen much, so. Obviously, Carlos is going to say, leave me enough room. I'm going to say he didn't leave me enough room. It was, it's a shame we finished like that because we were still possible to score points.
Can you take any positives from the fact that you were looking really strong?
Yeah, I think we are looking very strong everywhere. We're just not managing to get 7s and 8s, which we should most of the races.
Bad luck.
Now, it's an interesting day for Force India. Down at turn 1, lap 1, Perez had a moment, spun and almost collected the 2 Williams that were leaving the pit lane. Difficult day for him after that point. Esteban Ocon, though, another brilliant race. It had looked like a pretty tough weekend for him. Force India, as we've said, in this really tight midfield battle, don't have the advantage that they've had over recent years of being that team firmly in 4th place in the championship. Once again, maximising the potential, bringing home points on a weekend where arguably it hadn't looked possible.
It's fantastic results. P7, we are really happy with that. It was very, very tough race. I have to say, keeping Fernando and Kevin in the back was not an easy task, and I think the car was a bit hard to drive today with the wind and the conditions. So to come home 7 and the last race 6, we are happy going on the week off.
It's an alright season so far for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good season. We are improving, so that's why I'm smiling now.
Are you happy with that?
Not really. It all started bad in turn 1. I just lost the rear end at the start, and since there it was quite poor to recover from there. We still recover with the safety car and so on. We were back on the race, and just towards the last laps, Gasly just pushed me off the circuit, gave him enough space, but it was just not enough to, and we still made contact. So I think that's under investigation and should be looking carefully, because it's not a good example of how to run another car off the circuit.
Okay, so you think it was quite unfair?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was definitely just too unfair.
Now, for somebody who it definitely hadn't looked possible for but managed to bring home those points as well, Fernando Alonso, McLaren struggling, coming into this weekend, Eric Boullier gone, Gilles de Ferran in, much controversy, but rising above it all, as he always seems to do, Fernando Alonso, just a great drive, back in the points again.
Yeah, obviously with a normal race, 8th is great, but I think with the safety car and putting the yellow tyres and the others, they didn't pit, so we had a clear tyre advantage at the end of the race, and we could not capitalize on that advantage because we were behind traffic.
And with the safety car, just quickly on that, lots of drivers didn't manage to get round to the end of the race. So for you, actually, this is great, surely.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great race in that aspect, and P13 on Saturday, again P8 on Sunday is more points for the team. So we take them with no doubt. But hopefully we have these kind of races without any safety car or anything happening to the others, just for our own performance. And hopefully we see that in the next one.
Now, it was a very difficult weekend for Williams. Both cars in qualifying span into the gravel. For Stroll, it finished his qualifying session, so Sirotkin was able to get going again. And Sergei picked out something which has afflicted Williams for a long time, which is that when the DRS disengaged, so when it went from open to closed, the aero effect was failing to re-establish itself on the rear wing. That meant that when they were going into the corners, they had no downforce on the rear because the turbulent air was still hadn't attached itself as aero onto the wing. We've seen that before with Williams quite a lot actually, but this was a new rear wing, so that was the big issue for them. It meant they were having to get off the gas earlier, disengage the DRS earlier, which was costing them time. Anyway, they made the change, reverted to the old rear wing for the race, started from the pit lane, nearly collected by Perez at the start. Didn't really get much better for them after that horrible weekend.
Well, it's always going to be a really, really difficult day for you guys. Did you have to go in thinking you could just get the best from where you were?
Pretty much, yeah. That's kind of been how it. That's been the approach most of the season. So we did what we could today, and yeah.
And I'm sure you weren't really expecting as well at the beginning to see a car spin past you coming out the pit lane.
Yeah, it was pretty close, especially for Sergei, who was just in front of me. First time starting from the pit lane, so it was a different experience.
Just quickly, are you happy with the overall, not maybe the result, but overall there was some difficult moments out there for everyone?
Yeah, I think it could have been a lot better. I think our strategy was not very good. If we would have stopped a lap later, we would have stopped under the safety car, which would have then gained us quite a bit of time. So we probably could have finished on the points today.
Yeah, it was tough for sure, and we knew it's going to be tough. But you always kind of come racy, come with a lot of hopes. But then it just when you drive and it happens like it happens, it's just painful to be there.
Let's talk about Toro Rosso as we're here. Again, a difficult weekend. A breakage on Hartley's car pitched him into the barriers in FP3. They changed the suspension settings to an older spec suspension for the race itself and for qualifying. Pierre Gasly didn't think he had a chance in the race today, given the number of straights, given the fact that turn 1 and Copse as well are both flat out as well, thus extending the straights. With the Honda engine, they thought they'd be sitting ducks. Gasly, though, home in 10th. Points, much unexpected.
Yeah, super happy, honestly. We didn't expect to be in the point this weekend. Struggled a lot with all the issues and the performance of the car, and I really had to fight super hard to keep up the pace with the others. So at the end I was behind Sergio, but the Force India is so fast in the straight, it was impossible to try something. And yeah, I saw one chance, went for it and touched a bit, but honestly really enjoyed the battle, and yeah, managed to get that point, so just super happy.
It was a great move as well, watching it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I had to fight a lot and fight hard, so that's what I like about racing when we have close fights, so yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It was looking like a very promising weekend once again for Sauber, but unfortunately they're taking both their cars home in carrier bags, lots of bits. Yeah. Leclerc retired from the race in a points-paying position when he came in for a stop to try and vaunt him ahead of Nico Hülkenberg in the race. That's how well Leclerc was doing. And one of the wheels wasn't secured in the stop, came out of the pits, pull it off the track, mate, your day is done. Galling, particularly in light of the fact that Sauber of late have been one of the highest performing teams with the speed of their pit stops. This one just a bit too quick. All the wheels not quite attached. Then Marcus Ericsson brought out the safety car going down into turn 1. DRS open. It looked as though he turned in with DRS still just that little bit open. Lost the rear, and just like Grosjean in practice, he's into that barrier before he knows what's happened. So disappointing day for both of the Saubers. But we're going to hear from Charles Leclerc, who has maturity beyond his years, shall we say. Would be desperately disappointed with the potential points and massive race result that went begging, but not willing to throw anybody under the bus.
It happens. It's racing. I think the team has done an incredible job on pit stops in the last 3 races, always topping it or doing second. And today we had a small problem at the pit stop. We still need to check, because I'm not even sure it's an error from the mechanics or if it's actually the, how do you say it?
Like the hardware, the gun?
Yeah, or the gun that broke or whatever. So we just need to check, but it happens. It's motorsport. Sometimes there are failures, and today it happened to us. It's a shame because we were very quick, and I think 7th was realistically possible today. But yeah, as I said, it's racing and it happens. It's okay.
So it is the prancing horse of Ferrari that leaves Silverstone happiest. Of course, it was at Silverstone that Ferrari got their first ever Formula 1 victory way back when, before even Steve was born. It's been a very happy weekend for them. And Sebastian, it must be said, nursing a cricked neck for the weekend as well. Didn't seem to slow him down. Ferrari is back in a really sweet spot right now, but the Mercedes-Ferrari battle looks set to continue. We have, after this triple header, now got hello, how you doing? We've now got a week off, and then it is Germany and Hungary back-to-back to take us into the summer break, who will be leading by the time we go for our hollybops after the Hungarian Grand Prix. Honestly, the great thing about this championship season is I have no idea. I don't think anybody else does. One thing is sure, though, Lewis Hamilton is hungrier possibly than ever. Sebastian Vettel is fightier than ever as these 2 4-time world champions go head-to-head for a 5th. It's been a great weekend here at Silverstone. I can't believe it, but I'm sunburnt, as I think I've said already, from this weekend here. Unseasonably sunny and glorious. Germany's next. We'll see you then. Thanks, folks.